Today we're taking our perspective drawing our Escher project to the next step, and that is we are going to draw columns. To do that, we first need to work on our 4 blocks. Okay, so here is the block that we drew first, and I'm going to find the middle of each block. Okay, so using my ruler, I'm finding the middle of the block and I'm making a mark. And I'm going to come down here to the next block, making sure my ruler's at the edge. I'm finding the block. Now remember, our blocks were 2 inches, so that my middle is at the 1 inch mark. Then I'm going to come over here to this block, line up the ruler so the inch mark is at the edge. The end of the block is here. So again, at the 1 inch mark, I'm marking the middle. I'm going to come down here to this block and check to make sure my ruler is lined up with the edge of the paper and the edge of my 2 inch line, and I'm finding the middle. So all 4 of those I have marked at the 1 inch mark, the middle of each block. Now I have to do the same thing on the other sides. So again, I'm lining up my ruler at the 1 inch line is on my line. My ruler should be at the edge of the paper, and I'm finding the middle at the 1 inch and making a mark. I'll come up to the top, check to be sure my ruler is in the right place. When I'm doing this measuring, it's a little bit like using the vanishing point. My ruler is going to want to slip off the line. So every time before I make my mark, I need to double check and make sure that my ruler is in the right place. So I've marked it at the 1 inch. And I'm going to do the last one, mark it at the 1 inch. Okay, now we're not finished. We have to add another round of marks. So we're going to add from here to the edge, we're going to split it one more time. So we're going to take the 1 inch and we're going to find halfway, and we're going to find the middle and put a mark.
Do it the other side.
And then we're going to do the same on this other side.
I would do here and then here.
Before we do the other side, it will work better if we finish marking this. So here's my half. So from here to here, I'm going to split that in half. So now I have my center, half of that and half of that. Now I'm going to come over here and do the same thing to the other block. Lining up my ruler, finding the half, and finding the half. And then I'm going to move up, line up my ruler with the marks I made the first time, and find half, and find half. Come over here to this last block, line up my ruler. I always want to double check and make sure that my ruler is lined up with my first mark. So I have 1, here's the half, 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 half. I'm going to keep that one. We'll repeat this. So there's my ruler lined up. Half, half. Line up my ruler. Half, half. line up my ruler, half, half, line up my ruler, double check, make sure I'm on those marks so that my marks line up with the first marks that I've had. So now we can go to the next step. The next step is going to be drawing my column. So now I'm going to use the marks that we made on the side and the vanishing point, and I'm going to use,
Erase the middle.
not use this middle mark. I'm going to use the top mark and line my ruler up here, but my column is not going to start to go between the block, and then it's going to stop, and then it's going to start on the other side of the block. So when I pull my ruler away, I see part of the line, it's going to hit the block, and I see part of the line. So now on the other side, I'm going to erase the middle mark and line up my ruler. I'll do it this way so you can see. I want to make sure I'm on the vanishing point. And I'm going to use, here I use the top mark, so here I'm going to use the top mark. And again, the line is not going to start on this block, it's going to start where the block ends. And it's going to go on towards the vanishing point. Okay, now we are drawing a column, so a column has a curve. So I'm going to draw the curve like a part of a circle, and that's where the block is going to end, or where the column is going to end, I should say. When I come out, I want to, onto the other side, I want to be sure that my column touches the block. And I'm not going to draw all the way back to the vanishing point. So again, this is going to be a circular shape. So I'm going to end the column and take that out. So right now it looks like our column is stopping in midair. Okay? Now let's do the column on the left. Step number 1, I'm going to erase out my middle lines. And here I use the top 2 marks. So I'm going to use the top 2 marks. So I have my top mark and the vanishing point. Again, my column does not start on the block, it starts on the gap between the blocks and starts at the end of the other block. Okay, and now since I know that I'm going to erase the end, I did not take the line all the way to the vanishing point. You can take the line all the way to the vanishing point and erase it if you wish. And now I'm going to use this inside mark and my vanishing point. Start with the column. Column continues. So I have to end this column. Again, I'm thinking about a circle. So that means my column is going to curve, and I take out any other lines that I had. If my circle doesn't curve enough, the column is not going to look round. So if it's not looking round, I have to check the end of my column. And at about the same point as this one, again, I'm going to think about, sometimes it's easier to draw a whole circle and then to erase the inside part. So again, my column is going to go into the air. All right. Now we're going to do the column that's going to frame our page. So now we're going to use our bottom marks. I'm going to line up my ruler and draw across. And again, this is not going to be a square column, it's a rounded column. Stop.